everybody. Good to see all of you. I know I'm a little bit far away, but it's the only way I can try to figure out how to get all of me into the screen. So hopefully it works for you. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Carol, yoga instructor, and the practice that we typically follow is a basic hatha type of yoga in case you're joining for the first time. The props that you'll need for this class is a mat, something to lay on. I prefer the yoga mat because it's a little bit thinner than an exercise mat, so hopefully you have that. If not, the exercise mat will work. And then a couple of yoga blocks. And that is it as far as the props that you'll need today. The one thing that you may want to add is a chair. Sometimes I find that helpful for people who have a hard time sitting on the floor. So you can do just about everything that I'm going to start off with in a chair. And so that's about it. The practice today is mostly focused on hips. I'm looking for strength and mobility in the hips. This helps with all kinds of things as far as balance, walking, going up and down the stairs, getting into the bottom of your kitchen cabinets. Just be able to move your hips fluidly and to start engaging those muscles a little bit more. And also too is to focus on the feet and ankles. And I like focusing on that. A lot of times our feet are stuck in shoes, and we tend to forget that they're the ones that hold us up all day long. And it's really important to pay attention to that. So it's nice to get our feet out of shoes and socks. In fact, if you have socks on, take them off right now and enjoy your bare feet for a little bit. So we will work on some of that. I like working on the ankles, especially for you golfers who are walking on the greens. They don't tend to be a very solid surface. There's a lot of dips and whatnot, and when you find you're walking on these uneven surfaces, you're using your ankles a little bit more. So I like to focus on the ankles, give them some attention, some mobility, and a little bit of strength as well. So we're starting off in a seated position. Hands are on your thighs or your top of your knees, wherever it's most comfortable for you. And you place your hands down on top of your knees, palms down or palms up. Palms down meaning you have enough energy in your body and you don't need any more or don't feel as though you do. You want to contain it. Palms up if you want to receive more energy into your body, if you feel that you need that at that point. So if you notice I'm kind of rocking my hips out a little bit, that kind of helps to kind of get those sit bones into the mat just a little bit. So find that comfortable seat, whether it be on your mat or on a chair, and go ahead and close your eyes. And just begin to focus on your breath. Nothing forced. Just a good general inhale and exhale. Just feeling the ebb and flow of that air in your body. Nothing forced. And then begin to focus on that air. Feel the air around your body, what that feels like on your skin, the temperature of that air. Notice the air as it comes through your nostrils. Begin to focus on the movement of your chest, the rise and fall of your chest with each inhale and each exhale. Noticing the expansion in the sides of your body as well with each inhale. And feel the sides of your body relax with each exhale. And then notice the movement of your ribs and lungs as they press up against your back, and the movements of the ribs in your back. And then notice any movement with your belly, just feeling maybe a little bit of movement there, an expansion of your belly, or maybe the belly relaxing with each exhale. And coming back to the focus of your nostrils, feel the coolness of the air as it comes in through your nose. And feel the warmth of that air as it leaves your body and comes back through your nostrils. And now focusing on your body, feel those areas of your body that are being supported by the mat, your sit bones, ankles. Begin to elongate your body, imagining there's a hook in the ceiling that's pulling the crown of your head up to the ceiling. Just to straighten your body just a little bit. Maybe get a fuller breath in and a full breath out as you elongate your body. And now take a deep breath in to a count of 4, filling up those lungs as full as you can. Hold on to that breath for 4 counts. Now very slowly blow that air out to 4 counts. Pause at the bottom for 4. Inhale for 4. Filling up those lungs, pausing for 4. Exhale for 4. Pausing. Noticing any areas that are tightening while you do this exercise. Trying to find some softness in those areas. Inhaling for 4. Pausing for 4. Blow all that air out for 4. Pause one more time for 4 counts. And then come back to your natural breathing pace. Again, just focusing on your breath, just feeling that evenness of that breath. And then go ahead and open your eyes. So from here, we're going to start the movement in our hips. So go ahead and lift up your right leg and hold it with your hands. And then take your left hand and interweave your fingers in between your toes. Then begin to find some movement in your toes. Just back and forth, just flex and extend. Just to get some movement there. If you can't weave your fingers in between your toes, then go ahead and just grab the tops and do the same thing. And then begin to make circles with your feet, letting your hand help with that movement. And then go in the opposite direction. Good. And then hold that leg with both hands, and then begin to just rock that leg back and forth. Just back and forth, just starting to warm up that hip just a little bit. And then make circles with your leg. And then in the opposite direction. And go ahead and place that leg back down onto the mat. And then lift the other leg up. Same thing, hug that with your arm. And then place your fingers in between your toes, or just grab your toes at the top. And then we're just going to flex and extend our toes back and forth just to get some movement in there. Sometimes even just putting our fingers in between our toes creates a little bit of movement that we're unaware of. A lot of times, like I may have said before, our toes are generally crammed inside of shoes, and so they tend to get really tight against each other, sometimes causing some problems. So being able to just get that movement in our toes, maybe get our fingers in between one or two toes even, is a big deal. That helps quite a bit with balance and mobility. So now we're making circles with our ankle, having our hand help. And then in the opposite direction. Good. And then holding that leg with both arms, begin to rock that leg back and forth. Just to begin to warm up that hip just a bit. And then make circles. And then go in the opposite direction. Good. And then go ahead and place that down. All right. So we're still in that cross-legged position. Hands are on the tops of our thighs. Take a nice deep inhale, raising your arms up and overhead. And then turn toward your right and place your left hand on top of your right knee. Right hand comes right behind you. And place that right hand up against your bottom as close as you can. That right arm is nice and straight. And that's your spinal twist right there. And then if you want, you can get a little bit of a twist in your cervical spine by tipping your chin down just a tiny bit and looking over your right shoulder. Continue to breathe here. Nice full deep breath in, full breath out. If you're finding it difficult to breathe back out of that spinal twist just a tiny bit, it'll help to ease the air come in and out. Take an inhale, come back to center, but keep that left hand on top of your right knee, and then cross your right arm over your left. And then placing both hands on your knees, take a nice big inhale, and then an exhale, tip forward for a little forward fold. You should feel that in between your shoulder blades. Breathe. Take an inhale, come back up. Release those hands and then walk them forward. Get a little bit of a forward fold. Should feel that in your hips just a little bit. Keep on breathing. Take an inhale and begin to walk your body back up. And then we're just going to cross the opposite leg in front. Walk out your hips just a little bit on your mat, just wiggling back and forth. Place your hands on tops of your thighs. Take an inhale, raising your arms up and overhead. And then an exhale, turn towards your left. Place your right hand on your left knee. Left hand comes right behind you. Again, left arm is nice and straight. That left hand is right up against your bottom. If you want, you can get a little bit of a twist in your cervical spine by tipping your chin down and looking over your left shoulder. Take a deep breath in. Full breath out. Settle into this pose. Find some stillness here. Take an inhale, coming back to center. Keep that right hand on your left knee. Take your left arm, cross it over your right. And then on your next exhale, bend over your legs for a forward fold. Should feel that in between your shoulder blades. Breathe here. Take an inhale, come back up. Uncross your arms and then walk your hands forward. Wiggle those hips out just a little bit. Come again to a forward fold, getting a nice stretch in those hips. Taking an inhale, walk your body back up. Going back up to a seated position. And now we're going to come down onto our back. So go ahead and lay onto your back. Hopefully you don't lose me too much in here. I can only back up so far away from the camera. So we're going to lay on our back and bring our knees in toward our chest. And then we're going to separate our legs just a bit and bring our knees in toward our armpits. So this is our reclined frog. Should feel it in your inner thighs. So we're trying to get a nice stretch in those inner thighs. And just take nice full breath in and a full breath out. The weight of your hands should help your knees come down toward your armpits, down toward the floor. And then using your hands, place them on the outside of your legs and exhaling, press your legs together. Hug your knees in towards your chest. Rock from side to side. That feels good. And then place your feet onto the mat. So we're going to do breathing bridge. And I like to do this because, again, it warms up the hips just a little bit and all of the supporting muscles. So we're not just focusing on hips in this particular case. I'm also looking at getting the glutes, lower back warmed up, the hamstrings, so all of those supporting areas of our legs. So arms are down by your sides. Feet are in toward your glutes. And on an inhale, you're going to press into your feet, raising your hips up, raising your arms up, bring them all the way back behind you. Squeeze your legs together as best you can. And then exhale, you're going to begin to slowly lower down. Arms come down, hips come down. Inhale, arms come up, hips come up. Squeeze your legs together. Exhale, arms come back down, hips come back down. Inhale, arms up, hips up. Squeezing your legs together. Breathe here. Exhale, arms come back down, hips slowly come back down. And then one more time, pressing into your feet, hips come up, arms come up and back. Exhale, arms come down, and hips come down. Go ahead and hug your legs in, and then roll over onto your right side, stacking your knees on top of each other. Knees are bent at 90-degree angle, and your thighs are 90 degrees to your body. Your right hand or arm is underneath your head, and then your left hand is pressed into the mat. I want you to focus on your hips and keep them nice and level right now. So pressing your hand into the mat should help a little bit. So now raise that left leg up and let it hover above your right leg, maybe about 10 to 12 inches above that leg. And then on an exhale, you're going to bring your knee in toward your chest. And inhale, bring that leg back so it's hovering over the right. And then exhale, that leg comes all the way back, keeping that knee bent. Inhale, back to center. Exhale towards your chest. Inhale towards your center. Exhale behind you. Inhale, back to center. Exhale towards your chest. Inhale to center. Exhale behind you. Inhale to center. Straighten that leg and make circles in one direction. Keeping those hips level, and then in the opposite direction. Good. Go ahead and bring that leg down, keeping it straight, rested on top of the right leg. Then bring both arms out in front of you. Left arm is stacked on top of the right. Take an inhale, raising that left arm up and bring it all the way back behind you, resting your left shoulder onto the mat. If your shoulder does not come all the way down, you can grab a block and use that for some support under your arm. If the stretch in your hip is too much to have that left leg straight, go ahead and bend it. You can rest your right hand on top of that right left knee, or you can keep your arms out to a T. And then your gaze can be up toward the ceiling or over your left shoulder. Breathe here. And then on your next inhale, raise your arm up and exhale all the way back to bringing it on top of the right. Bend your knees. And then we're going to roll over onto our left side. So laying on your left side, your knees are bent at 90-degree angle. Left arm is underneath your head. Right hand is pressed into the mat. Your hips are stacked. So keep those level. Raise your right leg up. On an exhale, bring your right leg in towards your chest. Inhale, hover it over your left. Exhale, bring that leg behind you. Inhale, back to center. Exhale towards your chest. Inhale back to center. Exhale behind you. Inhale, exhale, inhale back to center, exhale behind you, inhale to center, exhale in front, inhale to center, exhale behind, inhale to center, straighten that right leg, make some circles in one direction, and then in the other direction. And then rest that leg down onto the floor on top of that left leg. Straighten both arms out in front of you. Right arm is stacked on top of left. On an inhale, raise that right arm, bring it all the way back behind you, resting your right shoulder onto the mat behind you. Nice big spinal twist. If you want, you can rest your left hand on top of your right knee. If your right shoulder does not come down, grab a block, place it underneath that shoulder or arm. Gaze can be up toward the ceiling or over your right shoulder. If it's too much of a stretch for that right hip, go ahead and bend that right knee. Breathe. And find some stillness in this pose. Take an inhale, raising that right arm back up and over to join the left. Bring that leg back in, and then press yourself up to tabletop. Good. So, at this point, your hands are right underneath your shoulders, knees are underneath your hips, your back is neutral, your gaze is down onto the mat. We're going to come to cow first. You're going to take a nice big inhale, bring that tailbone up. Drop your belly, bring your chest up, head and neck follow, squeeze your shoulder blades together. Inhale for cat, tailbone dips down, round your back, pressing into your hands, shoulder blades come away from each other, gaze is back toward your legs. Inhale for cow, tailbones up, belly drops, head and neck come up. Exhale for cat, tailbones down, rounding the back, gaze toward your legs. Inhale for cow. Exhale for cat. And one more round, nice big inhale. And exhale. And then come back to tabletop, that nice neutral back. And then we're going to extend our right leg out behind us. The ball of your right foot is on the mat right now, and press back into that right heel to get a little bit of a stretch in that calf. On your next inhale, raise that right leg up, keep those hips nice and level. And then we're going to bring our right knee into our right elbow. So on your next exhale, you're going to bend that right leg, bring that knee in towards your right elbow, rounding your back just a bit. Take an inhale, straighten out that leg. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, straight. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, straight. Exhale. Inhale. And one more time. Exhale. And inhale. Then go ahead and bring that knee down. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side, extending that left leg out behind us. The ball of your foot is pressed into the mat. And then press back into that heel to get a little bit of a stretch in that calf. Breathe here.
then on your next inhale, raise that leg up. Keep both hips level. Imagine a plate balancing on your back right now. On your next exhale, you're going to bend your knee, bring your left knee in towards your left elbow, rounding your back. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, straighten. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And one more time. Exhale. Inhale. And go ahead and bring that knee down. Big toes together, knees separated about hip width distance. Sit back towards your heels. Lower your head down to the mat. Arms extend all the way in front of you for child's pose. Breathe. Enjoy the groundedness of this pose. If your head does not come down to the mat, use a block. On your next inhale, press yourself back up to tabletop. Now we're going to come to a kneeling position from here, so just come straight up to kneeling. Good. Then we're going to bring our arms up all the way. Inhale. And then exhale, sweep your arms back behind you and dip down like you did for child's pose. Inhale all the way up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Bring your bottom down towards your heels. Inhale up. And exhale down. And inhale up. Good. Arms down by your sides. Good. And then step your right foot forward. This is where I want you to grab your blocks at this point, or you can grab a chair. It's entirely up to you as far as what you want to use to be able to help with some of these poses. So, right foot's on the mat. Your knee is directly above your ankle. Okay, if you find that your knee is coming this way, back up just a bit. If you have your foot back here and your knee's that way, step your right foot forward just a bit. Okay, and I want your body stacked right over that left leg. Okay, so go ahead and rest your hands on the blocks. Tuck the toes on your left foot and press into the ball of that left foot. Okay, left leg's nice and straight, right knee is still bent. And then I want you to stand up. So this is a little bit of a balance pose. This is called crescent. On an inhale, raise your arms up and overhead. Relax your shoulders down your back. So at this point, I want you to just focus on your hips. Right now, both hips are squared to the wall in front of you. Your shoulders are square to the wall in front of you. Excuse me, I lost my balance trying to look at you guys. Step your left foot down, and what you'll notice is now your hips are over to an angle, but I want you to square your shoulders off to the wall that's in front of you. So this is warrior one. Now straighten that right leg and bring your right hip back and left hip forward. So again, your hips are squared to the wall in front of you. And then on an exhale, bending at the waist, tip over that right leg. You can rest your hands on the blocks. So it's a little bit of a stretch in that hamstring and glute area. And then take an inhale, raising your arms back up. And then bend that right knee. Notice that your hips then move again. So you're squaring your shoulders off, a little bit of a spinal twist. On your next exhale, bring your hands down toward the mat. Move those blocks off to the side. Turn onto the ball of your left foot, and then bring your right foot back. So you're coming to plank. If you want, you can come to half plank. It's entirely up to you. Then I want you to shift forward onto your hands. So come forward toward the front of your mat and then very slowly lower down onto the mat. Hands are underneath your shoulders, elbows squeezed into the sides of your body. Pelvis is pressed into the mat. On an inhale, press yourself up to cobra. Keep your hips down onto the mat. Take an exhale, lower all the way down. Tuck your toes, press up to tabletop. Take an inhale, press to downward dog. Hips are up toward the ceiling. Pedal out those feet just a little bit. Back and forth. And then walk your feet forward to meet your hands. Take an inhale for a halfway lift. Back is parallel to the mat. Shoulder blades can be squeezed together. Exhale for a forward fold. Inhale, sweep your arms all the way up and overhead. And then exhale, arms back down by your sides. Take an inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And then exhale, plant your feet. Plant your hands and step your feet back. And then just drop your knees back down toward the mat to come to tabletop. Grab your blocks. Make sure that they're handy. Come up to kneeling. Step that left foot forward. Place your hands on tops of those blocks. Okay? I want you to make sure that that left knee is directly over your ankle, like before for a little lunge. Again, hands down onto the blocks. Ball of your right foot is pressed into the mat, and then you're going to press right into that ball back toward that right heel, straightening out that right leg. Left knee's bent. Come all the way up to standing and come to crescent. Make sure that you're right in between both legs. That's going to help you keep your balance. Again, notice your hips. They should be facing that wall that you're looking at right now. Step the right foot down, planting it at an angle. Now your hips are pointed at an angle, which means you need to square your shoulders off to the wall in front of you for a bit of a spinal twist. Straighten the left leg out. Right hip comes forward, left hip comes back. Bending at the waist, bend over toward those blocks, getting a nice stretch in that hamstring. Maybe you'll feel it in the calf, maybe you feel it in the glute. Relax your neck. Relax your shoulders. Take an inhale, coming all the way back up. Arms come up, relax those shoulders down. Bend that left knee back to warrior one. On an exhale, hands come back down onto the mat. Twist onto the ball of that right foot. Step that left foot back. Should come to plank. Shift forward. Slowly lower down. Untuck your toes. Press the tops of your feet into the mat. Pelvis is pressed into the mat. Hands are right underneath your shoulders. Elbows tucked in. Inhale up to cobra. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, tuck your toes. Press up to tabletop. And then press up to downward dog. Nice big breath in. Full breath out. Find some stillness in this pose. Breathe. And then walk your feet forward to meet your hands. Take an inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale for a forward fold. Inhale, sweep your arms all the way up to come to standing. And then come and face forward. Exhale, arms down by your sides. Good. So, hands our palms facing forward. Feel those shoulder blades come together. And then we're just going to focus on our feet right now. So shift back and forth, rocking towards your heels and towards your toes, heels and toes. And then find some center in those feet right in between. You can rock back and forth on them just a little bit. Wiggle out your hips if you need to. And then if you need to, you can look down at your feet or not. It's entirely up to you. What we're going to do, and we're not going to be able to see this on the video, but I want you to lift your toes up off the mat. So feet are on the mat, but toes are up. Separate them nice and wide. Imagine those fingers in between your toes again. And then one by one, starting with your pinky toe, set your toes down onto the mat. So starting at your pinky toe, and then the toe next to it, middle toe, all the way to your big toe. Pressing all the toes into the mat, just lift your big toe up. And set it down. Press all your toes into the mat. Take an inhale. Lift all your toes up. Separate them nice and wide. And then one by one, starting with your pinky toes, set them down onto the mat. Once all your toes are down and pressed into the mat, lift your big toe up. Then press it back down to the mat. Nice big exhale. Nice big inhale. Raise your toes back up off the mat. Separate them nice and wide. And then one by one, set them down onto the mat, starting with your pinky toes. Press the big toes into the mat. And then lift it up. Just that big toe. And then set it down. Wiggle those feet out. Wiggle those hips out just a little bit. Nice. Good. All right, nice big wide stance. Grab those blocks. Set them in front of you. Nice big wide stance on the mat. And check the outside of your feet. Make sure they're running parallel to your mat. Toes kind of feel like they're pointing in just a little bit. Hands are on your hips. Take a nice big inhale. On an exhale, tip forward, just come halfway down. Take a breath in, and then exhale, come down, resting your hands on those blocks at whatever level works for your body. So blocks can be at the low level, medium level, high level. If you've got more flexibility and you can bring your hands all the way down to the floor, you're welcome to do that. And then find some stillness here, just for a couple of breaths. And then begin to walk your hands or your blocks over to your right ankle. Breathe. Take an inhale, walk your hands back to center. And then on your exhale, walk your hands over to your left foot, or walk your blocks, if you need your blocks, over towards your left leg. Take an inhale, come back to center. Walk your hands all the way back toward the back of your mat or your blocks. And then inhale back to center. Take an exhale, and then inhale, come all the way up. Now point your toes out toward the edges of your mat, just at an angle. Arms come up for a star. On an exhale, you're going to bend your knees, bend your elbows, and come down to goddess pose. Find some stillness here.
And then inhale back up to star pose. And then exhale back to goddess. Inhale back to star. And exhale to goddess. Inhale back to star. Arms come back down. And then begin to walk your feet together just until they're just outside hip width distance. Okay? Bring your hands together. Thumbs are pressed into your chest. And very slowly begin to come down to a yoga squat. If you need to use your blocks, use your blocks. Okay, resting your hands on the blocks sometimes helps, or placing them underneath if your legs just don't have the strength to hold you. Okay? Begin to tip forward and then begin to move back and forth just to get some movement into your hips. Again, if you need to use the blocks to bring your body up a little bit, go ahead and do that. We're just looking to get some movement there in your hips. And then find some stillness and stand up. Good. Arms up overhead, bring those feet back together. Arms back down by your sides. Inhale, arms up. Grab your left wrist, bend over towards your right. Keep your hips stacked on, nice and level. So hips above your knees, knees above your ankles. I don't want to see any of this kind of thing going on. Okay? Take an inhale, come back to center, grab your right wrist, bend over towards your left. Nice big stretch. Inhale back to center, left wrist one more time. Keep those hips level. Inhale back to center, right wrist. Inhale back to center, arms down. On an inhale, raise those arms up. And then we're going to turn toward the front of our mat again and take an exhale and come to a forward fold. Take an inhale for a halfway lift. And then an exhale, we're going to step back to plank. And then we're going to push back up on an inhale to downward dog. And then on your next inhale, raise that right leg up. So we're going to do that same movement that we did when we were in tabletop. I want you to come up onto your left toes, bend that right knee, and then bring that right knee in towards your elbow. Take an inhale, come back. Exhale forward, inhale back. Exhale forward, inhale back, and then exhale forward and rest that leg down toward your hands. So your shin is across the mat and your left leg is extended out behind you. The top of your left foot is pressed into the mat. And then your hips are square. So if you need to, you can grab a block, place that underneath your hips in order to keep them square. So should be a pretty big stretch in that right hip. And we're just going to sit up in this position for a little while. Breathe here. And then if you're finding tension in any area of your body, try to let that go. Now begin to walk your hands forward over that leg
and come down to your mat. Forehead is pressed into your mat. Arms can be, your hands can be used to rest your head. If this is a pose that you cannot get into, then come back up, come to a lunge, a tabletop position, and then step that right foot forward and bring that left leg back, and you can come to lizard. So this is lizard. Your right foot is on the outside of those blocks. You can rest your hands on the blocks or rest your forearms down. The other pose that we are in is pigeon with the leg calf in front of you. So either one. You're still going to get a stretch in your hips. It's just going to be a tiny bit different depending on which pose you're in. On your next inhale, press yourself back up. Tuck the toes on the left foot. Press into your hands and that left foot. Bring that right leg back up and then step that right foot down. So we're back to downward dog. On your next inhale, raise that left leg up. On the exhale, bend that knee, bring it forward. Inhale, leg comes up. Exhale, forward. Inhale, up. Exhale, forward. Inhale, up. And exhale, forward, resting that leg down onto the mat. Calf is across the mat for pigeon, or you can bring those knees down, step that left foot forward, bring those blocks in, bring that left foot out to the outside of those blocks, and then bring that right leg out behind you for lizard. Again, depends on what feels right for your body. So those are a couple options for you. You can come all the way down onto your forearms. Find some stillness here. And then on your next inhale, come back up. Hands are on the mat. If you're in lizard, you can come back up to your knees and come to a kneeling position for now. If you're in pigeon and you're here, press into your hands, tuck the toes on your right foot. All of the right foot is pressed into the mat. Bring your left foot back up. Step the left foot back down on to the mat and then come down to kneeling that way. Big toes together, knees are separated. A little bit more than hip width distance. Sit back towards your heels. Walk your body forward to come to child's pose. Resting your forehead on the mat. If your forehead does not reach the mat, grab a block and rest your forehead onto that block. Arms can extend all the way out in front of you, or you can bring them behind you. Nice big deep breath in. Full breath out. Coming back to that even breath. Take an inhale, press yourself back up to tabletop. Cross your ankles and then sit back, coming over your ankles and onto your glutes. Keeping your legs crossed, come forward. Just want you to get used to the movement over your ankles. And then cross the opposite ankle in front. Walk your hands forward. Come onto your knees and back onto your ankles. Come and turn forward. Okay. You might need blocks, you might not. You might need to use the chair. You'll just try it out. So we're going to keep our legs crossed. We're going to press into our ankles and we're going to come up to a standing position. And then we're going to come down, keeping those ankles crossed. And then you'll cross the opposite ankle in front and stand up and then sit down. Okay, so just building those muscles just a little bit. So now let's come back down onto our mat all the way. Extend your legs out. Come and lay down onto the mat. All the way down. Arms down by your sides, palms facing up. Bring your arms away from your body enough so that you can get your shoulders down onto the mat. And take a full breath in and a full breath out. And then starting from your toes, begin to relax your body, softening the backs of your legs, your glutes, softening your back, and then feeling your belly soften, your chest relax, your shoulders melt into the mat, your arms soften, relax your jaw, and relax that area right between your eyebrows, that third eye center. Begin to awaken your body by wiggling your fingers and toes, licking your lips and swallowing. Taking a full inhale, raising your arms up and overhead behind you, pressing your heels away from you. And then a full exhale, bending your knees and towards your chest, giving them a nice big hug. And then rolling over to your right side to make a pillow for your head with your right arm. Using your hands, press yourself up to a comfortable seated position. Placing your hands on your thighs. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead, palms meeting. Exhale, bring your thumbs all the way down to your heart center. And bow your head. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you take care of yourself with joy. May you be safe. It is with gratitude that I thank you for sharing your practice with me. Namaste. Thank you, everybody. I hope you enjoy this video. I hope it works out for you. Also, for all of you who do have my phone number, feel free to text me if you've got any questions on any part of this video. Hope to hear from you soon. Take care. Love you. Bye.